Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Hello everybody, welcome to Top Polish Words. My name is Marzena and today we will learn 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. So let's go! Dziękuję, ale nie jestem Polakiem. Thank you, but I'm not Polish. Dziękuję, ale nie jestem Polakiem. Thank you, but I'm not Polish. So I guess after long years of studying Polish, somebody can mistake you for an actual Polish person, and then you can say, oh, no, thank you, I'm flattered, but I'm not Polish. Dziękuję, ale nie jestem Polakiem. Nauczyłem się mówić płynnie w ciągu zaledwie roku. It took me only a year to become fluent. Nauczyłem się mówić płynnie w ciągu zaledwie roku. Nauczyłem się mówić płynnie w ciągu zaledwie roku. It took me only a year to become fluent. Nauczyłem się mówić płynnie w ciągu zaledwie roku. And if you're a girl, you want to change this nauczyłem się into nauczyłam się. Nauczyłam się mówić płynnie w ciągu zaledwie roku. Będę mówił po polsku jak Polak w 3 lata. I will speak Polish like a Polish person in 3 years. Będę mówił po polsku jak Polak w 3 lata. I will speak Polish like a Polish person in 3 years. That can be a goal for you to achieve and kind of something you can do. So please try. Good luck. Powodzenia. Uczyłem się polskiego przez 10 lat. I've been learning Polish for 10 years. Another thing that will leave people impressed is saying that you've been learning Polish for a very, very long time. And you can say, uczyłem się polskiego przez 10 lat. I've been learning Polish for 10 years. And remember, if you are a girl, you want to change uczyłem się into uczyłam się. Mogę oglądać polskie filmy bez napisów. I can watch Polish movies without subtitles. Mogę oglądać polskie filmy bez napisów. I can watch Polish movie without subtitles. This is something that will really impress people, and I guess you can achieve it by watching a lot of movies and then studying Polish with polishpod101.com. These two methods combined will lead you to success. Potrafię zapamiętać około 50 nowych polskich słów dziennie. I can memorize around 50 new Polish words a day. Potrafię zapamiętać około 50 nowych polskich słów dziennie. I can memorize around 50 new Polish words a day. That's a kind of achievement, yet, think about it, it's not very difficult to do. So if you try to study with like flashcards from polishpod101.com, you can actually maybe able to do it in a very, very short time, go to up to like 50 words, because words are very similar and there are the parts that you already know, and that kind of helps you memorize. So be sure to think about it whenever you're learning a new word. Polski jest fajny i prosty w nauce. Polish is fun and easy to learn. I guess a lot of native speakers think that Polish is very difficult, and it is, so you can amaze them by saying polski jest fajny i prosty w nauce. Polski jest fajny i prosty w nauce. Polish is fun and easy to learn. Well, I would be amazed if somebody told me that, so please try it out on your Polish friends. Mówię nie tylko po polsku, ale jeszcze w kilku innych językach. Apart from knowing Polish, I can speak a few other languages as well. Another thing that many people find amazing is if you can speak not only Polish but other languages as well. So in that case you can say, mówię nie tylko po polsku, ale jeszcze w kilku innych językach. Apart from knowing Polish, I can speak few other languages as well. That's definitely something to amaze your friends. Uczę się polskiego samodzielnie. I'm learning Polish all by myself. Uczę się polskiego samodzielnie. Uczę się polskiego samodzielnie. Which means I'm learning Polish by myself. I'm learning Polish by myself. Polish is a very difficult language to learn, so learning it by yourself is actually very difficult. It requires some time, it requires effort, yet if you can do it, that's really amazing. Go for it. Nie mam najmniejszych problemów z polską ortografią. I have no problems with Polish orthography. So what is the most difficult part in studying Polish? Well, somebody would say it's an aspect, but I guess there is another part that's very difficult, and it's orthography. And actually, orthography is difficult not only to foreigners, it's very difficult to Polish people as well. And we got a lot of people, not even our president can spell some words, so please watch news for that one. So, if you want to impress somebody, you can say nie mam najmniejszych problemów z polską ortografią, which means I have no problems with Polish orthography. That's actually cool. I do have problems with Polish orthography, so I would be impressed. Thank you for watching. This was 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. And did you try any of these? Which one works the best? Please let us know in the comments, and please remember to like this video. And for more words and for more lessons, please visit polishpod101.com. Thank you again and see you next time. Cześć! Hello everybody, welcome back to Polish Top Words. My name is Marzena and today we will learn top 10 must-know vocabulary for the restaurant. So our first word is kellner, waiter, and it's a masculine noun. So for example, if a waiter is very rude, you can say ten kelner jest bardzo niegrzeczny. Ten kelner jest bardzo niegrzeczny. This waiter is very rude. And our next word is kelnerka, waitress. So kellner is the masculine form, while kelnerka is the feminine. For example, you can say ile zarabia kelnerka? Ile zarabia kelnerka? How much money does a waitress make? So in general, the service in Poland is not that bad. But sometimes you may be unhappy with something, and if that's the case, it's okay not to tip, because the waiter or the waitress, they usually earn enough to cover their salary. But a rule in Poland would be to tip more or less 15-20%, but it's obviously up to you. So if you are more than happy with the service, you can go for 20%. If you are not so happy, you can go for 10 or just leave. Nobody will be angry at you. Our next word is almost the same as the English one, and it's menu. Menu. And with so many different restaurants, maybe there is some food you don't eat, something you don't like. And there is like vegetarian menu, and there is a vegan menu, and there is of course all the other types like pescatarian menu. So for example, when you walk in the restaurant and you are not so much into fish or meat, you can just ask, czy mają państwo menu wegetariańskie? Do you have a vegetarian menu? And surprisingly, even though Polish cuisine is so heavy on meat, we do have plenty, and I mean plenty, vegetarian restaurants all over, spread all over the Poland, but especially in Warsaw. Warsaw is being known as European capital of vegetarian food and vegan food. And of course, one of the very important words when you are in the restaurant is zamówienie, order. Zamówienie, order. So zamówienie comes from a verb zamawiać, which means to order. So in English it's the same, basically almost the same word. It's just noun and a verb, order and to order. In Polish it's zamówienie as the noun and zamawiać as the verb. So the waiter can come to your table and ask, czy mogę przyjąć zamówienie? May I take your order? Another very important word, not only for restaurant, but in general, is woda, water. Woda means just water. And I know that in some countries you can get water for free in a restaurant, but in Poland you pay for it always. Be careful when you order it, just check on the menu what the price is, because it can be actually pretty high, almost the same as juice or even beer sometimes. And we do have both sparkling and non-sparkling water. It's very popular. Both are. So, for example, if you are the kind of person who doesn't like sparkling water, you would like to ask for non-sparkling one, you would say, poproszę wodę niegazowaną. I would like to have non-sparkling water. And of course, when you finish the meal, the most important thing is dessert. Dessert. Dessert, you probably feel like you've heard it somewhere because it sounds so much like the English word. Dessert is dessert. 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 So when the waiter or the waiters will be taking your order, they will probably ask at the end, czy życzy sobie pani coś na deser? Would you like something for the dessert? So we've got a lot of different desserts in Poland, and one of the most famous one would be szarlotka, which is an apple pie served with ice cream and with whipped cream. Another very good one, but available, I think, only for Christmas, is the popsicle cake, which is the best for me. I like my favorite dessert ever. And of course, there's a lot of other pies. There's a wonderful cheesecake, very different from what you will see in all the other countries. So please be sure to try it out. Szef kuchni. Chef. So if you go with your friends to this very nice restaurant and you know that the chef here is very, very famous, you can say in Polish, szef kuchni w tej restauracji jest bardzo znany. The chef in this restaurant is very famous. Fast food. Fast food, which is just fast food. I guess the accent is more like Polish. And then another thing is that you know that in Polish we change nouns, we change the endings. So even though it's an English word, we would still change it. So it's like fast food, fast foodów, fast food. So even though it's an English word, we'll still change it. Like fast food sometimes would just become fast foodów. And we do have a Polish type of fast food as well, which is pretty old. This Polish type, it's actually Polish hot dog. And we still call this hot dog, but there is no there is no sausage or anything or any meat inside. It's just mushrooms, and it comes from the time long time ago when we literally didn't have meat. It was very difficult to get meat, even though people had money for that. They just couldn't buy it. So that's the invention of that time, and I still remember it. Oh my gosh, when I was little, I just loved to go with my mom and buy those hot dogs, and we called them hot dogs, but they were like hot dogs with mushrooms, and that's it, just mushrooms, like just the bun with mushrooms. You cannot see them so often anymore. You can still probably when you just look around, but it's not that common anymore. If you are like me and you don't really like fast food, you will say nie lubię fast foodów. I don't like fast food. Restauracja, restaurant, and you can already hear it sounds very much like the English word restaurant because it's restaurant. Restauracja, restauracja. And I guess you know that a lot of restaurants are being judged by having Michelin star or not having it. I don't think there is a lot of restaurants in Poland with Michelin star, but the one that do have it, they will be extremely, and I mean like extremely expensive. Nevertheless, if you find one, you can always say ta restauracja ma gwiazdkę Michelin. This restaurant has a Michelin star. Rachunek, bill. Rachunek comes from a very old Polish word which we probably don't use anymore. A verb, rachować. Rachować means just to count. And right now we would just say liczyć, not rachować. But this word, its form, it's still there in the word rachunek. Rachunek. And it's also very important to just look at your bill before you go back home, because sometimes people may make mistakes on purpose or not on purpose, but just it happens. And if something is wrong, you can always say przepraszam, ale ten rachunek się nie zgadza. I'm sorry, but this bill is not correct. Thank you for watching. This was Top 10 Must Know Vocabulary for the Restaurant. Be sure to like this video and please tell us in comments what kind of Polish food do you like. And if you want more content like this, please go to polishpod101.com. See you!
Cześć!
Cześć.
Jak się masz?
Dobrze. A ty?
Świetnie.
Cześć.
Hej,
Jak masz na imię?
jestem Gosia, a ty?
Jestem Alex.
Miło mi. Fajne masz imię.
Dzięki.
Jak ci idzie nauka?
Chyba dobrze.
Jakieś problemy?
Tak, wymowa. Litery ż albo ź są bardzo trudne.
Nie martw się, dobrze ci idzie.
Przepraszam panią,
Tak?
upuściła pani rękawiczkę.
Naprawdę?
Tak, proszę.
Dziękuję bardzo. Hej, Alex.
Cześć,
Skąd jesteś?
jestem z Australii. A ty?
Jestem z Polski.
Super.
Hello everybody, this is Marzena. Welcome to Polish Top Words. Today we will learn 10 ways to save the planet in Polish. So here you go. Utylizować. To recycle. So our first word is utylizować. Utylizować. Or to recycle. So for example you can say: czy u was się utylizuje śmieci? Czy u was się utylizuje śmieci? Do you recycle at home? Exactly, do you recycle at home? I guess if you recycle or not, it really depends on the country, and then even in the country, within the country, it depends on the household. We do recycle in Poland, though it's not like every day. There are like special recycle bins, so people usually separate garbage and then they take it out every now and then. And I guess as everywhere else, there are people who do it and then people who don't. There is no special fines or anything for people who are not doing it, though I guess a lot of people try to. Because it's just easier. There are those big recycle bins and you can go and throw your garbage anytime you want. And if you recycle, then there is less garbage at your house as well. So I guess that's something easy to do. Wolontariusz. Volunteer. And our next word is wolontariusz. Wolontariusz. Wolontariusz means volunteer. And for example, you can say: potrzebujemy więcej wolontariuszy. Potrzebujemy więcej wolontariuszy. We need more volunteers. As you may already noticed, first of all, wolontariusz comes from English. So it's very close, the sound is very close to volunteer, wolontariusz. And the second thing you may have noticed, it's a masculine noun. So you can use it for girls and for guys, but if you want to have the specific like feminine form, you would say wolontariuszka. So wolontariusz is for guys, but you can use it for both, male and female. And if you want a female form, is wolontariuszka. Wolontariuszka. And in Poland, it's very common to be a volunteer when you are in high school or maybe elementary school or junior high. I was volunteering a lot, doing different stuff, like, helping at school, that would be one thing, but then helping organizing bigger events, or even in some charity work and so on. That's actually very common, like the big Christmas charity orchestra, you know, the Wielka Orkiestra Świątecznej Pomocy event that is organized everywhere. I think that's very common to be a wolontariusz or wolontariuszka there. Ochraniać, to protect. And the next word is ochraniać. Ochraniać means to protect. And you can say, for example, jak ochronić się przed wirusami? Jak ochronić się przed wirusami? Which basically means, how do you protect yourself against viruses? So, first of all, the word ochraniać comes from chronić, which are very similar words. So chronić means to protect, and ochraniać, it's protect as well, but the image is more like protecting the environment or protecting somebody. Chronić can be broader. You can say ochraniać środowisko, which means to protect the environment. Ochraniać środowisko. You can also change it easily to the other protect, which is chronić. So you can say chronić środowisko as well. And to give you another example, you can say musimy chronić środowisko. Musimy chronić środowisko. We need to protect the environment. Or you can say musimy ochraniać środowisko. Musimy ochraniać środowisko. We need to protect the environment. Yeah, so both ochraniać and chronić, they both mean to protect, and you can use one or the other in most cases. Używać ponownie, to reuse. Another one we have is a phrase. Używać ponownie. Używać ponownie means to reuse. Actually, używać means to use something, and ponownie means for the second time or again. And yeah, in English we are lucky enough we have a word for that, to reuse something. In Polish we just say używać ponownie. And you can say, for example, tego można używać ponownie. Tego można używać ponownie. You can reuse this. Tego można używać ponownie. And I guess there is this big movement for things you can reuse, so we don't really use like plastic forks or plastic knives or spoons. And even plastic bags, you know, in Poland you have to pay for that. If you want to get a plastic bag, you have to pay additional few groszy. So it's not a big money, but people kind of become more aware that, first of all, it costs money to produce it, and it costs even more money to get rid of it, and usually you don't get rid of it, and it's just polluting our environment. So yeah, so I guess we have less and less plastic bags in Poland. Chronić, to conserve. And our next word is chronić. Chronić, to conserve. So remember when we were talking about ochraniać, we said it's to protect, and we said ochraniać is very close to chronić, and that's true. But chronić has another translation, and we can translate it into to conserve. So a very good example for that would be musimy chronić zasoby naturalne. Musimy chronić zasoby naturalne. We need to conserve natural resources. That's something that has been a big issue not only in Poland, but I guess all around the world. And even though the government may be not doing a lot, people are very aware of the need to protect or to conserve natural resources. And there is a big movement, and I guess young people are being more and more aware of how important it is. So we try to protect, we try to conserve our natural resources in Poland as much as we can, even though it's not very often. There may be no special government program to do so. Like normal people are trying to help and trying to protect and trying to share the awareness of how important it is. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci, to reduce trash. Another very important thing to do is zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci means to reduce the trash. And that's something you can do by your own as well. So one thing that has been done in Poland is, as I said before, you have to pay for your plastic bag, and people stopped buying those plastic bags because now they are aware that it costs money, and then it costs money to utilize it, right? So, and that's another like garbage that we don't need. So that's one thing we are doing to just zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. So for example, you can use it in a sentence like należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. We need to reduce the amount of garbage. Troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. Now our next one is an obvious one, yet some people really tend to neglect it. And that's troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. To care for the environment. So troszczyć się means to care, and then środowisko is the environment. Altogether troszczyć się o środowisko means to care for the environment. And you can use it in a sentence like wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. Wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. We all need to care for the environment. And true as it is, we often tend to forget about it. And I guess in Poland right now, the biggest problem is that during the winter it's very cold. And you've got the central heating system, but very often you just burn stuff and then in your fireplace. And, even in the central heating, if you have a house, you will just burn things in the fireplace, and if it's cold, it's okay. But a lot of people, they don't have money to buy one, so they will just burn trash. And that's becoming a big issue right now in Poland. We have big pollution issues during the winter. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. Our next word, or actually a phrase, is używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. So używać, as you probably already know, is to use something. And then produkt is a product. And then środowisko is environment. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. Przyjazny means friendly or nice to you. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. And in a sentence you would use it like czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Do you use eco-friendly products? Now, the thing is that eco-friendly products are usually more expensive than the normal ones. And I guess even though it's better than it used to be, still a lot of people, they cannot afford it. So they just buy those cheap products that are not necessarily eco-friendly. And we still have issues with that in Poland, and I guess all around the world. But more and more people, especially in big cities, they kind of becoming aware of how important it is, and they don't really, they don't mind spending a little bit more if that's going to solve some issues regarding environment and environment pollution. Segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. And our next one is segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. So segregować means to separate, to divide by categories, and śmieci is garbage. And you can say, u mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. U mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. Which means in my house we separate garbage. In Poland, we do separate garbage, although, of course, it really depends on the household. It depends on where you live, if you even have access to those big garbage bins where you can throw away plastic bottles or glass bottles or cans. But if you do have access to that, and I guess more and more people do, then I guess most people will do it, will separate it because it makes recycling easier, but it also makes your garbage problem easier, by which I mean that you are going to throw away it in those big bins that are being there on the street, so you have relatively less garbage at home. So it's easier for you to separate them and then to throw it away in those public bins that are over there, lying there, sitting over there, just waiting for you to do it. Oczyszczać, to clean. So our next word may sound familiar, and it's oczyszczać, oczyszczać, to clean. You probably have heard the word czysty, czysty, clean as an adjective. So czysty, we transform it a little bit and we have czyścić, so to clean something, and then we put the O in front of it and it's oczyszczać. And the difference between czyścić and oczyszczać is that, well, czyścić is like, you know, to clean your house or to clean your plates or to clean your, even your clothes, while oczyszczać is more for bigger things. So like to clean the rivers or the sea or something like that, or water, like drinking water. That's oczyszczać, is like for bigger purposes. And for example, you can say, musimy oczyścić powietrze. Musimy oczyścić powietrze. We need to clean the air. And just to wrap it up, in this particular sentence, oczyścić is the only word you could use. You couldn't use czyścić, like to clean, because that's just for the small things that you are, you know, cleaning your house, or as I said, cleaning your plates or something like that, and not for bigger things like, you know, like the air or seawater or water, drinking water or something like this. Thank you for watching. Today you learned 10 ways to save the planet in Polish. Please let us know what you think in the comments, and remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and go to polishpod101.com for more content like this. Thank you and see you again next time. Woohoo!
Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to Top Polish Words. My name is Marzena and today we will learn 10 must-know autumn vocabulary. So here we go. Sweater, sweater, sweater. Sweater basically means sweater. What you can hear often from your mom, if your mom is Polish, it would be załóż sweter, which means put on the sweater. So basically Polish moms are very much concerned about your health, and whenever it's getting colder and it's at autumn and they would like, oh, put on the sweater, załóż sweter. Deszczowy, rainy. Deszczowy, rainy. So deszcz means rain in Polish, and deszczowy, it's an adjective. For example, we can say, dzisiaj jest bardzo deszczowy dzień. Today is a very rainy day. When autumn comes in Poland, we got a lot of rainy days. It's not as bad as rainy seasons in some other countries, but be sure to get your umbrella ready. Wietrzny, windy. Wietrzny. Wietrzny means windy. We got a lot of windy days in październik and in listopad, which is basically October and November. So for example, you can say listopad jest raczej wietrzny, which means November is rather windy. Chłodny, cool, cold. Chłodny. Chłodny means cool or cold, and it's an adjective. It can be used to speak about weather. So, for example, you can say październik w Polsce jest chłodny. October in Poland is cold. You can also use it about person's character. So, for example, you can say that this person is chłodny, chłodna, depending on the gender, and this means that this person is just distance. Jesień, autumn. And the next one is jesień. Jesień means autumn. So you can say lubię jesień w Polsce. I like autumn in Poland, which I actually do because it's very beautiful. We do have all those leaves with like beautiful colors, orange and gold. And there is a lot of things to do, and you can go for a very nice walk around listopad or grudzień, which is November and December, it's getting quite cold, quite chłodno, and it's better to put on a jacket. Still, it's very nice for a walk. Zimno, cold. So the next word is, and it's getting even colder, it's zimno. Zimno means cold. So we already got chłodny, which was cool or cold, and this is an adjective. And you can say chłodno to make it an adverb. Zimno is an adverb and it means cold. You can say zimny to make it like an adjective, or zimno. Zimno is an adverb. If you're in Poland and it's December, it's rather cold in December, I would say it can get down to like, or even January, it can get down to like minus 25 degrees. So you can say dzisiaj jest bardzo zimno, which means today is very cold. Kasztan, chestnut. Okay, and what's the best thing to do in Poland in autumn? Well, the best thing is to collect kasztany, or the singular kasztan. Kasztan means just a chestnut, and I guess this is the main thing we used to do. I mean, when I was little, and when autumn came, we were going out and then just collecting kasztany and making all those small like animals and stuff. I guess nowadays it's not so popular. If you want to go and collect chestnuts, you can say, chodźmy pozbierać kasztany. Let's go pick up the chestnuts. Koszula z długim rękawem. Long sleeved shirt. Okay, so if your mom don't tell you, please put on your sweater, she will probably tell you, please put on a long sleeve shirt, which is koszula z długim rękawem. Koszula is a shirt, z długim rękawem, with long, długi, z długim rękawem, sleeve. And if you've got a Polish mom and you're going hiking, she will probably tell you, weź koszulę z długim rękawem. Take the long sleeve shirt. Święto dziękczynienia. Thanksgiving. Okay, this one is not very Polish, but I guess you can use it, especially if you come from English-speaking country and you celebrate this one. Święto dziękczynienia. Święto dziękczynienia means just Thanksgiving. Święto is a kind of celebration, and dziękczynienia it's Thanksgiving, like dziękczynienie, dziękować. You probably heard dziękuję, which means thank you. So dziękczynienie is like dziękować, dziękuję, thank you, and czynienie, which is like doing something, so doing the thank you thing. Święto dziękczynienia. So you can get curious and ask, czy obchodzicie święto dziękczynienia? Do you celebrate Thanksgiving? Which in Poland probably you hear no. No, we don't. We do have better things like Christmas. Liść, leaf. And the last word for today is liść. I guess it's very difficult to pronounce. Liść. And it means leaf. When you go and walk around, it's beautiful autumn, golden leaves falling down, you are collecting your kasztany, chestnuts, and you see this very, very beautiful leaf. You can say, jaki ładny listek. Listek, it's the same liść, it's just like a smaller version of it. So you can say, jaki ładny liść as well. And if it's very small and cute, and it's like, oh, how cute. Jaki ładny listek. What a nice leaf. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and remember to like this video, and if you want more, just go to polishpod101.com. Thank you again, and see you next time. Cześć!
You are at a train station where you're attempting to buy an express ticket from a ticket machine. Which option should you choose for an intercity ticket? Which option should you choose for an intercity ticket? The option on the bottom left is for an express ticket.
Bilet na pociąg Intercity.
You are at a train station where you've just bought an express ticket. Which train car and seat number are you in? Which train car and seat number are you in? The ticket says that you're in train car number 1 in seat 3 next to the window.
Wagon pierwszy. Miejsce do siedzenia. Trzecie. Okno.
You are at a train station where you're reading the train schedule for an express ticket that you've just bought. On which days are there no express trains running? On which days are there no express trains running? There are no express trains running on public holidays and the third Sunday of every month.
Świąt państwowych. Trzecią niedzielę miesiąca.
You are on a platform at a train station where you're waiting for your train. Suddenly, a message appears on the display. What does the message on the display mean? What does the message on the display mean? The display reads, "The next train will not stop."
Pociąg się nie zatrzymuje.
You are at a train station where you're looking for the best exit to catch a taxi. Which exit should you take to get to the taxi rank? Which exit should you take to get to the taxi rank? You should take the east exit in order to get to the taxi rank.
Wyjście wschodnie.
Hi, I'm Joanna. Nice to meet you. In this series, we're going to learn basic Polish expressions. It's super easy and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to introduce yourself in Polish. We'll start speaking right away. But first, it's important to clarify that in Polish often there is a difference between formal and informal language. Let's first see how Polish people introduce themselves in an informal situation. Cześć, Jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Cześć. Jestem Joanna. Miło mi cię poznać means nice to meet you, but Polish people don't really use this phrase. In informal situations, it's better if you just say miło mi. Start by saying cześć. Jestem, then say your name. Cześć. Jestem Joanna. Finally, if you want, say miło mi. Cześć. Jestem Joanna. Miło mi. And now let's see the same sentence in formal speech. Dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi pana poznać. Good day. My name is Joanna Suchecka. Nice to meet you. Dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi pana poznać. This is what you say if you're talking to a man. If you're talking to a woman, say dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi panią poznać. Dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi panią poznać. So, what has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a close look at these expressions together. Cześć has been substituted with the formal greeting dzień dobry, Polish for good day or good morning. Jestem Joanna also changed. Jestem simply means I am. However, during a formal self-introduction, you should avoid saying this. It's better to say nazywam się Joanna Suchecka, which means my name is Joanna Suchecka. Also, in formal situations, please remember to say your full name. Finally, pay attention to the ending. We went from miło cię poznać to miło mi pana or panią poznać. We changed cię into pana or panią. If you use cię, you're addressing someone around your age. But if you find yourself in a formal situation or talk to a person who's older than you, use pana to address a man or panią to address a woman. One more time. The informal way to introduce yourself in Polish is cześć. Jestem Joanna. Miło mi. The formal way to introduce yourself is dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi pana poznać. Or dzień dobry. Nazywam się Joanna Suchecka. Miło mi panią poznać. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. If you feel confused about the nice to meet you part, feel free to skip it. As I mentioned before, Polish people don't use it much. When you introduce yourself, it's a good habit to shake hands. It doesn't matter whether you're meeting a man or a woman. Do the handshake. Remember to make it quite firm. If your hand is too loose, it gives the other person a bad impression. We also say it feels like holding a dead fish. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase przepraszam. Czy mówisz po angielsku? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word przepraszam, which means excuse me. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to apologize in Polish. It's very easy. First of all, good news. We don't differentiate between I'm sorry and excuse me. In Polish, we have just one word, przepraszam, which can be used in both situations when we want to apologize or draw someone's attention. There's also no difference between formal and informal situations. It's always the same przepraszam. Let's go through some situations in which przepraszam can be used. If you want to draw someone's attention, just put przepraszam in front of the question. For example, przepraszam, czy to miejsce jest wolne? Excuse me, is this seat occupied? Or przepraszam, jak dojść do dworca? Excuse me, how can I get to the train station? In such a case, you can modify the question by adding panią if you're addressing a lady or pana if you're addressing a man. For example, przepraszam panią, jak dojść do dworca? Excuse me, ma'am, how can I get to the train station? The meaning is exactly the same as before. We just emphasize the gender of a person who we talk to. You can choose whatever version you like better. Both are correct and polite. The other situation in which we use przepraszam is when we apologize. As I mentioned before, we have only this one word for making an apology. We can use it both in formal and informal situations. If you want to make your apology more complex, you could use this phrase. Jestem ci winien przeprosiny. Jestem ci winien przeprosiny. Please note that this is spoken by a man. Woman would say, jestem ci winna przeprosiny. Jestem ci winna przeprosiny. This phrase means I owe you an apology. Usually, after saying this, you are expected to explain what you did wrong or the reason why you think you owe someone an apology. There's one colloquial word used to apologize among young people. It's almost the same as the English sorry. We say sorry. Sorry. It's okay to say it to your friends, but only in the case of a small mistake, something not very serious. For example, when you step on your friend's foot or when you want to refuse going out. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. Making an apology in Polish is very easy. It's enough to just say przepraszam. Here, you don't have to worry about speaking formally or informally, or the age and gender of the person you are talking to. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Polish. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use good manners as we thank people. Gotowi? Are you ready? Let's start. There are two ways to thank someone. Let's start with the easiest one. It's just one word. Dziękuję. Dziękuję. Dziękuję means thank you. When saying thank you very much, you just need to add bardzo. Dziękuję bardzo. If we want to thank a friend, usually we use a different, more casual word. Dzięki. Dzięki. Dzięki is very similar to the English thanks, so you shouldn't use it when your friend did something especially nice for you or when the situation is serious. We usually use it to thank for small favors. For example, if a friend bought a drink for us, lent us a pen, helped us carry our bags, and so on. How do you answer? It's easy. Here are two different ways to do it. The first is nie ma za co. Nie ma za co. This means you're welcome. Nie ma za co can be used with anybody, except in a very formal situation. In such cases, it's better to use this expression. Przyjemność po mojej stronie. Przyjemność po mojej stronie. Literally, this phrase means pleasure is on my side. It's not a very common thing to say among young people, or between friends and family members. But it will be considered very good manners if you answer with this expression in a formal situation, such as while talking to your boss or speaking to someone much older than you. You can also simply say it to someone you don't know very well. So when someone says dziękuję to you, you can reply with nie ma za co or przyjemność po mojej stronie. If you hear dzięki, it might be a bit too much to respond to this casual phrase by saying nie ma za co or przyjemność po mojej stronie. So how might you react then? You have two options. First one is just to say nothing. Don't worry, it's a normal thing to do. The second option is to say spoko. Spoko. This means something like it's cool. If you want, you can also answer using this phrase. Nie ma problemu. Nie ma problemu. This means it's no problem. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. If you want to keep it simple, just use dziękuję or dziękuję bardzo when you want to thank someone. It doesn't matter whether the situation is formal or informal. It's always the same. Remember not to say przyjemność po mojej stronie to your friends, because it will sound a little bit weird. If someone thanks you saying dzięki, just answer spoko. But please note that these two words are very casual. In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Polish, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you are saying, even if their answer is no. Here's an informal way to say it. Czy mówisz po angielsku? Czy mówisz po angielsku? Czy is a particle which has no meaning. It's similar to the English do. In Polish, verbs change depending on the pronoun that is used. Since you can understand what the pronoun is by looking at the verb conjugation, we usually skip the pronoun itself. That's why there's no pronoun after czy. Next, we've got the verb mówisz, which means speak. Then there's po, which we always have to put right before a language name. And finally, angielsku, which means English. We're now going to make this sentence formal. First of all, we have to change mówisz into mówi, because the pronoun is changed from you into a respectful pronoun meaning sir or ma'am. Then we add pan, which means sir, or pani, which means ma'am. Everything else stays the same. Czy mówi pan po angielsku? Czy mówi pani po angielsku? Czy mówi pan po angielsku? Czy mówi pani po angielsku? Adding przepraszam, excuse me, makes the sentence more polite. Przepraszam, czy mówi pan po angielsku? Przepraszam, czy mówi pani po angielsku? The response you will receive could be one of these four. Tak, yes, tak. Trochę, a little, trochę. Nie, no. Nie. Nie, nie mówię po angielsku. No, I don't speak English. Nie. Nie mówię po angielsku. Since the last one is a negative statement, we need to say nie before the verb mówię. Notice also that the verb is slightly different than before. Remember, the verb changes depending on the pronoun used. We are now talking about ourselves, so the sentence is nie mówię po angielsku. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Polish people study other European languages at school, so maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute po angielsku with po niemiecku for German, po rosyjsku for Russian, po włosku for Italian, po hiszpańsku for Spanish, po francusku for French. In this lesson, we will learn some of the most common greetings used in Poland. Gotowi? Are you ready? Zaczynamy. Let's start. There are a few informal greetings in Polish. Cześć. Cześć. Cześć means hi or hello. Another informal greeting is siema. Siema. This phrase also means hi, but it's used only by young people. Another very common greeting is hey. 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 Hey is very easy because it's exactly the same as English hey. All these greetings are very informal, and we should only use them with friends or close relatives. Now let's move on to formal greetings in Polish. There are only two that you need to know. We'll start with dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. Literally, dzień dobry means good day. We can use dzień dobry during the whole day, from early morning until evening. If it's the evening, we would say dobry wieczór. Dobry wieczór. What should you say when you leave? Polish people usually say do widzenia when living in a formal situation. Do widzenia. Do widzenia means goodbye. If, however, we are saying goodbye to friends or relatives, we can use the informal papa. Pa, or simply pa. Now you can greet people and say goodbye in many different ways in Polish. Let's review them all again. First, formal greetings. Dzień dobry. Use this phrase during the day. Dobry wieczór. Use this phrase in the evening. The informal greetings are cześć, siema, hej. When living in a formal situation, we say do widzenia. And in an informal situation, it's papa or just pa. Easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Joanna's insights. Do you remember siema? It's an abbreviation of jak się masz, which means how are you? But we just use it in the same way as hi. It's a very common greeting among young people. You will find, as you continue to study Polish, that new greetings constantly appear among young people who often come up with new uses for well-known phrases or their abbreviations.
Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now.
I'd like to exchange money.
Chciałbym wymienić walutę. Chciałbym wymienić walutę.
I'd like to make a withdrawal.
Chciałbym dokonać wypłaty. Chciałbym dokonać wypłaty.
I'd like to make a deposit.
Chciałbym dokonać wpłaty. Chciałbym dokonać wpłaty.
I'd like to open an account.
Chciałbym założyć konto. Chciałbym założyć konto.
It takes 3 to 5 business days.
To potrwa od 3 do 5 dni roboczych. To potrwa od 3 do 5 dni roboczych.
Could I have a statement, please?
Czy mogę dostać wyciąg z konta? Czy mogę dostać wyciąg z konta?
Go back.
Wróć. Wróć.
Are there any annual charges with this account?
Czy z tym kontem są powiązane jakieś coroczne opłaty? Czy z tym kontem są powiązane jakieś coroczne opłaty?
Is this your first time with us?
Czy będzie pan u nas po raz pierwszy? Czy będzie pan u nas po raz pierwszy?
I'll leave it up to you.
Proszę zdecydować. Proszę zdecydować.
Is the water too cold?
Czy woda nie jest za zimna? Czy woda nie jest za zimna?
Can you come back later?
Czy może pan wrócić później? Czy może pan wrócić później?
Sorry, we're completely booked.
Przykro mi, nie mamy wolnych miejsc. Przykro mi, nie mamy wolnych miejsc.
We'll give you a call.
Zadzwonimy do pana. Zadzwonimy do pana.
I'll take one of this.
Wezmę jedno z tych. Wezmę jedno z tych.
What's this?
Co to jest? Co to jest?
Can I have a bag, please?
Czy mogę dostać reklamówkę? Czy mogę dostać reklamówkę?
Ready to start?
Czy możemy zacząć? Czy możemy zacząć?
The flight will arrive at 8:45 p.m.
Samolot wyląduje o 20:45. Samolot wyląduje o 20:45.
It looks like it will take about 30 more minutes to get there.
Wygląda na to, że minie jeszcze ze 30 minut, zanim tam dotrzemy. Wygląda na to, że minie jeszcze ze 30 minut, zanim tam dotrzemy.
We'll arrive 30 minutes early.
Będziemy 30 minut wcześniej. Będziemy 30 minut wcześniej.
She'll be here by 7 p.m.
Ona dotrze tu do 19:00. Ona dotrze tu do 19:00.
What is a good time for you?
O której ci pasuje? O której ci pasuje?
Today is Wednesday.
Wczoraj był wtorek. Wczoraj był wtorek.
Monday is the worst day of the week.
Poniedziałek to najgorszy dzień tygodnia. Poniedziałek to najgorszy dzień tygodnia.
It's already Sunday.
Już niedziela. Już niedziela.
The day after tomorrow is Friday.
Pojutrze jest piątek. Pojutrze jest piątek.
What day is it today?
Jaki dzisiaj dzień? Jaki dzisiaj dzień?
It's only Tuesday.
Dopiero wtorek. Dopiero wtorek.
He's leaving now.
On właśnie wychodzi. On właśnie wychodzi.
Let's leave in 20 minutes.
Wyjdźmy za 20 minut. Wyjdźmy za 20 minut.
Can we leave around 6?
Czy możemy wyjść około 6? Czy możemy wyjść około 6?
It's noon.
Jest południe. Jest południe.
It's 3 o'clock.
Jest trzecia. Jest trzecia.
It ends in 30 minutes.
Skończy się za pół godziny. Skończy się za pół godziny.
It's almost dusk.
Już prawie zmierzch. Już prawie zmierzch.
It's midnight.
Jest północ. Jest północ.
Be here before noon.
Bądź tu przed południem. Bądź tu przed południem.
This weekend I'm going to the movies.
W ten weekend idę do kina. W ten weekend idę do kina.
What are you doing this weekend?
Co robisz w ten weekend? Co robisz w ten weekend?
I'll have time next week.
Będę miał czas w przyszłym tygodniu. Będę miał czas w przyszłym tygodniu.
I'm busy this week.
W tym tygodniu jestem zajęty. W tym tygodniu jestem zajęty.
I have no money.
Nie mam pieniędzy. Nie mam pieniędzy.
Leave me alone.
Zostaw mnie w spokoju. Zostaw mnie w spokoju.
I want to go here.
Chcę iść w to miejsce. Chcę iść w to miejsce.
I'm looking for this place.
Szukam tego miejsca. Szukam tego miejsca.
They took my phone.
Zabrali mi telefon. Zabrali mi telefon.
This area is dangerous.
Ten obszar jest niebezpieczny. Ten obszar jest niebezpieczny.
Do you speak English?
Czy mówisz po angielsku? Czy mówisz po angielsku?
Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com. I'm sorry.
Przepraszam. Przepraszam.
Don't worry.
Nie martw się. Nie martw się.
It's okay.
W porządku. W porządku.
Please?
Proszę. Proszę.
Please forgive me.
Proszę, wybacz mi. Proszę, wybacz mi.
I really appreciate it.
Bardzo to doceniam. Bardzo to doceniam.
Thank you.
Dziękuję. Dziękuję.
You're welcome.
Nie ma za co. Nie ma za co.
Make yourself at home.
Rozgość się. Rozgość się.
Hello.
Cześć. Cześć.
Goodbye.
Do widzenia. Do widzenia.
Good morning.
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry.
Good evening.
Dobry wieczór. Dobry wieczór.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Przepraszam za spóźnienie. Przepraszam za spóźnienie.
Hello?
Hallo. Hallo.
Awesome.
Super. Super.
Delicious.
Pyszne. Pyszne.
Nice to meet you.
Miło mi cię poznać. Miło mi cię poznać.
Really?
Naprawdę? Naprawdę?
What time is it?
Która godzina? Która godzina?
How are you?
Jak się masz? Jak się masz?
I'm good.
Dobrze. Dobrze.
Help.
Pomocy. Pomocy.
I don't like it.
Nie podoba mi się to. Nie podoba mi się to.
I like it.
Podoba mi się to. Podoba mi się to.
It's difficult.
To trudne. To trudne.
Once again, please.
Proszę powtórzyć. Proszę powtórzyć.
I don't understand.
Nie rozumiem. Nie rozumiem.
Slower, please.
Proszę wolniej. Proszę wolniej.
What is it?
Co to jest? Co to jest?
Where are you from?
Skąd jesteś? Skąd jesteś?
How old are you?
Ile masz lat? Ile masz lat?
What's your phone number?
Jaki masz numer telefonu? Jaki masz numer telefonu?
Long time no see.
Dawno się nie widzieliśmy. Dawno się nie widzieliśmy.
This is for you.
To dla ciebie. To dla ciebie.
How have you been?
Co u ciebie? Co u ciebie?
I'm afraid I can't make it.
Obawiam się, że nie dam rady. Obawiam się, że nie dam rady.
Never mind.
Nie ma sprawy. Nie ma sprawy.
I forgive you.
Wybaczam ci. Wybaczam ci.
I'm fine.
W porządku. W porządku.
And you?
A u ciebie? A u ciebie?
Good night.
Dobranoc. Dobranoc.
Good afternoon.
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry.
Bye bye.
Papa. Papa.
How many people are there in your family?
Ile osób jest w twojej rodzinie? Ile osób jest w twojej rodzinie?
It takes about 30 minutes by train.
Pociągiem będzie mniej więcej 30 minut. Pociągiem będzie mniej więcej 30 minut.
Excuse me.
Przepraszam. Przepraszam.
Hold on.
Poczekaj. Poczekaj.
May I sit here?
Czy mogę tu usiąść? Czy mogę tu usiąść?
Thank you very much.
Dziękuję bardzo. Dziękuję bardzo.
What did you say?
Co powiedziałeś? Co powiedziałeś?
Are your top 10 language learning goals for the year? So here we go. Skończę survival phrases na polishpod101.com słuchając 2 lekcji dziennie. I will finish survival phrases series on polishpod101.com by listening to 2 lessons a day. Skończę survival phrases na polishpod101.com słuchając 2 lekcji dziennie. Which means I will finish survival phrases series on polishpod101.com by listening to 2 lessons a day. To set yourself a realistic goal, and then when you can actually measure what you did, and every day you listen just to 2 lessons, it's roughly maybe 20, 25, 30 minutes. If you want to review, it can be up to 1 hour, but it's very easy to do. So I would say, like, set yourself realistic goals and you know, give yourself feedback and challenge yourself and try to do little by little, you know, baby steps every day. And this is something that will lead you to success in language learning. Skończę książkę po polsku czytając 10 stron dziennie. I will finish reading 1 Polish book by reading 10 pages a day. Skończę książkę po polsku czytając 10 stron dziennie. We will finish, which means I will finish reading 1 Polish book by reading 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day doesn't seem like a big challenge, right? Yet, it's really possible to finish even the longest book by just doing that, just 10 pages a day. When you are choosing a book, remember about one very important thing. Don't choose book that is too difficult for you. So choose book where you can read it without actually looking up words in the dictionary. What I mean is that if you spend more time looking for words in dictionary than reading the book, the whole fun is not there. That's one thing. This is not helping you to learn. So that's one very important rule. Choose book that is at your level and then just try to read 10 pages a day. And maybe one day you will say, oh, 15 or oh, 20 because it's so interesting. So just to remember, choose interesting book, not too high level, and read at least 10 pages a day. And that's something everybody can do. Good luck! Zdam test z polskiego. I will pass my Polish test. Zdam test z polskiego. Which means I will pass my Polish test. So maybe you are on vacation in Poland and you are taking some kind of Polish language course, and there's a lot of courses offered all around the Poland, a very nice way to spend your vacation as well. And then, you know, of course it's nice to take different kind of courses, but then, you've got some kind of Polish certificate or Polish test, and that's a good goal to set for yourself. And once you do it, once you pass it, it's like, oh, this kind of feeling of achievement that makes you happier about yourself and makes you, you wanna do more, you wanna try more. Yeah, it's a good goal for your language learning, and you can study with polishpod101.com materials and prepare yourself for a Polish, for example, certificate course. So good luck! Zrozumiem w pełni jeden polski film, oglądając go codziennie. I will fully understand one Polish movie by watching it every day. Zrozumiem w pełni jeden polski film, oglądając go codziennie. Which means I will fully understand one Polish movie by watching it every day. And don't be, too hard on yourself, even if you don't understand it fully. It's okay. Once you get the general plot, that's perfect. That's a very good practice. You don't have to understand every single grammar point in every single sentence. That's not the point. Watch, enjoy, and good movies for that. I would recommend you Killer, which basically the Polish title is Killer, which is a very funny comedy and very relaxing, and I guess the language is not so difficult, so that's one of the movies I would recommend you. Totally, watch Killer. Przedstawię się po polsku moim polskim przyjaciołom w ciągu 3 minut. I will give a 3-minute introductory speech in Polish to my Polish friends. Przedstawię się po polsku moim polskim przyjaciołom w ciągu 3 minut. This basically means I will give a 3-minute introductory speech in Polish to my Polish friends. What's so good about this goal is that you actually tell yourself, oh, 2 sentences is not enough. You have to go further. You have to say something more like my name is. It's not enough anymore. So 3 minutes, it's setting a realistic goal. You can measure it with actually a clock. And this is something you can achieve within the first few months of the year. And then from that, you can go up. Good luck with that one. Nauczę się na pamięć 5 polskich piosenek. I will memorize 5 Polish songs. Another good way of studying Polish and another good goal for you is nauczę się na pamięć 5 polskich piosenek. I will memorize 5 Polish songs. What's so good about it is that songs are relatively easy to memorize, and then you learn new words out of it. And it's actually enjoyable when you listen to songs. You can try to sing it, you can try to repeat it, and then you kind of memorize it. And that's something that will stay with you for a long time, because every time you hear this memory, you will be like, remembering all these words, and it will be coming to your head. And it's like, whoa! I know Polish, almost. A good band I would recommend you would be Elektryczne Gitary, which can be translated as electric guitars. Elektryczne gitary, please check it out. Zapamiętam 350 słów za pomocą fiszek z polishpod101.com. I will finish memorizing 350 words with flashcards on polishpod101.com. Another good goal for the whole year is zapamiętam 350 słów za pomocą fiszek z polishpod101.com, which basically means I will finish memorizing 350 words with flashcards from polishpod101.com. I'm not a big fan of flashcards, but they can really help you, get the sense of achievement. So when you are trying to play with them, remember to make simple sentences as well. And remember, this is not the only way of studying a language, but that's a very good helper, something that will help you get, more confident in your skills. And I guess will help you memorize new words as well. So just try it. Maybe that's the way for you. Napiszę 10 kartek pocztowych po polsku do moich polskich znajomych. I will write 10 postcards in Polish to my Polish friends. Napiszę 10 kartek pocztowych po polsku do moich polskich znajomych. I will write 10 postcards in Polish to my Polish friends. What's good about postcards is that they don't have to be long, so you don't really have to be very good. And there is some set phrases that you can look up on the internet. You can check polishpod101.com for that. And some things you can use very simple sentences, and then just try, practice. And you're practicing writing as well. Writing can be very tricky, especially in Polish when you have like two different ż. One is RZ, the other one is the ż with the dot on the top, and there's like which one to use. Actually, I have problems with that too, don't worry. So this is a very good way to practice the language, the actual language. Nauczę się, jak mówić o przeszłych, teraźniejszych i przyszłych wydarzeniach. I will learn how to talk about past, present and future events. Another good thing to tell your story is to nauczę się, jak mówić o przeszłych, teraźniejszych i przyszłych wydarzeniach. Which basically means I will learn how to talk about past, present and future events. Zapamiętam 150 słów poprzez uczenie się 5 słów dziennie. I will master 150 words by memorizing 5 words a day. Okay, another one could be zapamiętam 150 słów przez uczenie się 5 słów dziennie. Which means I will master 150 words by memorizing 5 words a day. 5 words a day doesn't sound really difficult, right? Yet, by doing that for another 30 days, and that's only like 1 month, you can actually get up to 150, and 150 is an achievement. Top 10 marriage proposal lines. So here we go. Wyjdziesz za mnie? Will you marry me? And I guess, well, it's the simplest one, the shortest one, and the most effective one as well. You may already know the word wyjść, which means to go out. So it's kind of like using the word to go out, but then putting this weird preposition, which usually doesn't come with the word to go out, which is za, and then myself, mnie, wyjdziesz za mnie, which basically means will you marry me? But if you ever forget how to say it, just think, go out, go out, go out. Okay, wyjść, wyjdziesz, okay, wyjdziesz za mnie. And the funny part is that, the very, very useful part is that you can use the same phrase for both guys and girls, and both guys and girls can use it. So it's very, very convenient. Czy zrobisz mi ten zaszczyt i zostaniesz moją żoną? Will you do me the honor of becoming my wife? And obviously, because it's my wife, well, you can say it only to a girl. And yeah, czy zrobisz mi ten zaszczyt sounds very traditional, like will you do me an honor or will you do me the honor? It's like in English, it sounds very pathetic, very traditional, very, very old-fashioned, I guess. So yeah, for me, I don't think I would like my boyfriend to say that. It'd be a little bit weird, but I guess it really depends on the person, and you probably know your lady best, so you can decide for the longer one, for this one, even though she will like it. Czy sprawisz, że zostanę najszczęśliwszym mężczyzną na ziemi? Will you make me the happiest man alive? Yeah, I don't know, like maybe I'm not so old-fashioned. It's not something I would like to hear, but I've been never dreaming of this white dress and marriage and stuff like that, while my friends were, and they already married, and they already have kids, and they already have their own households, and I'm not married, and I don't have any kids, and I don't have my own house, and I'm not even looking for that, to be honest. So I guess if you're more like old-fashioned, traditional household style, then you will go for the longer one. If you're like me, you will just go for the shortened one, and then maybe think of very nice way to say it, very nice praise to say it, and so on. So our next phrase is czekałem na ciebie całe życie. I've been waiting for you my whole life. Czekałem na ciebie całe życie. And since czekałem is in masculine form, then yeah, a guy can use it to a girl or a guy, if you prefer. But that's masculine form. If you are a girl and you really want to use this one, you will say czekałam. Czekałam na ciebie całe życie. I've been waiting for you my whole life. Czekałem, czekałam. Yeah, so small, tiny little difference. And yet again, not something I would like to hear. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not romantic enough for this stuff. Or maybe I would like to actually hear that. Not sure. Undecided. Okay, let's go to the next one. Chcę być z tobą na zawsze. I want to be with you forever. Gosh, yeah. That's another one that for me it sounds a little bit cheesy, but then again, when I see like when I hear like I want to be with you forever, this sounds pretty cool actually. But then the Polish translation, which is okay, which is something people will use, chcę być z tobą na zawsze, chcę być z tobą na zawsze, I don't know, it doesn't sound so cool as in English. I have no idea why. It's just it. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on the person, right? Spędźmy ze sobą resztę życia. Let's spend the rest of our lives together. Oh, wow, we are getting more and more romantic. And this one you can use for a guy, and you can use it for a girl, and you can use it if you're a guy or if you're a girl. So it's very, very convenient, because you don't have to change any forms. Spędźmy ze sobą resztę życia. It's all about us. Doesn't matter if you are guys, girls, guy and girl, and which way around. You can use it for any kind of relationship. And that's very convenient. It's very romantic. I wonder if I will ever hear that and how I will react to it. No idea. Mając ciebie przy boku, czuję się spełniony. Having you by my side is what completes me. And that is something that a guy can say, because spełniony is an adjective in a masculine form. You can change it very easily and say, mając ciebie przy boku, czuję się spełniona. Whoa, and that's another one. Oh, I don't know if I will ever hear this. It's very romantic. Well, my boyfriend is not that romantic. Probably never ever. But yeah, I guess it would be nice to hear something like that once in a while, or once in a lifetime, or any time. Nie mogę sobie wyobrazić życia bez ciebie. I can't imagine my life without you in it. And this is another convenient one, because again, you don't have to change anything. You can use it to anyone, and you can use it as a girl, you can use it as a guy. So that's very good. That's not happening very often in Polish, so please use it. And oh my gosh, like, I guess, you will say it to somebody you really love, and maybe not somebody whom you just started dating, because this person would just get a little bit scared, I guess. Or maybe I'm not so romantic, I don't know. Chciałbym dać ci wszystko, ale mam nadzieję, że ten pierścionek wystarczy. I wish I could give you everything, but I hope that this ring is enough. And now you hit the level of being romantic. Like, this is like pretty much Superman of being romantic. And romantic phrases. And if your lady really likes that, that's something you can use. And here we've got chciałbym. So that's masculine form. So if you are a girl and you still want to use it, this is chciałabym. Chciałabym. You just change a little bit. Chciałbym, chciałabym. And that's all. And you're ready to go. Jestem pewien, że ja I ty jesteśmy sobie przeznaczeni. I now know that you and I are truly meant to be together. I know some guys who would actually use it as a pickup line. And I don't think it's a good idea. It sounds a little bit creepy if you do it at your first date, or I don't know, even before that. But as a proposal line, on the other hand, yeah, I guess it can go very well. I would feel a little bit weird, to be honest. But then again, as I already said on multiple occasions in this episode, I may not be the biggest, romantic ever. Even though, yeah, I would like my boyfriend to be a little bit more romantic, I guess. But me, myself, I'm not that big of a romantic. 10 phrases to survive at the station. So here we go. Jadę do. I would like to go to. The first and the most important one is jadę do. Jadę do Krakowa, jadę do Torunia, jadę do Poznania, jadę do Wrocławia. So, jadę do means I would like to go to. Luckily for you, this phrase is very short, first of all, and it's the same for male and female, so you don't have to change. Well, if you want to use the plural form, would be jedziemy do. Jedziemy do. So the preposition stays the same, do, and we just change the verb from jadę to jedziemy. And you can say, for example, jedziemy do Gdańska, jedziemy do Krakowa, jedziemy do Torunia, jedziemy do Poznania. So you may have noticed already that the name of the city changes. Like Toruń becomes Torunia, Gdańsk becomes Gdańska, Wrocław becomes Wrocławia, Kraków becomes Krakowa, Łódź becomes Łodzi, and this is because the case changes. So we change the case to genitive case. That's the second one, second case. So when you use preposition do, as in jadę do, you change it to the second case. So the name of the city will change. Jadę do Warszawy. We don't say jadę do Warszawa, that's a mistake. Jadę do Warszawy. And actually I said it means I would like to go to, but like very literally, it means I'm going to, I'm heading to. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? Is this the right platform for? Wow, and our next one is something you would definitely need in Poland, because this changes a lot. It's a very long one, so be prepared. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? Is this the right platform for? So let's just look at this phrase a little bit closer. So first we have the particle czy, that's asking. Z tego peronu, from this platform, odjeżdża, leaves. And then pociąg do, train to. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? That's the whole phrase. And you can say, czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do Warszawy? Is this the right platform for Warsaw? Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do Torunia? Is this the right platform for Toruń? And as you probably notice, there is the same preposition do as in the previous one, jadę do. Hence, we change the name of the city. So again, Toruń becomes Torunia, Warszawa becomes Warszawy, and Kraków becomes Krakowa, and so on and so on. So remember to change the name of the city. And it is very important for you to remember to memorize this phrase, because in Poland, sadly, especially as far as I remember, in Warsaw, in the central station, platforms change very often, like last minute, 5 minutes to train, and they say, oh, the platform was changed from number 5 to number 1, and you run. And it really happens very often, and it's very hectic, and it's like, yeah, so not to panic, that's the first rule, and then run, that's the second rule, and ask, that's the third rule. So don't, even if you go to the platform, the right platform, don't just rest reassured that it's okay and I'm just waiting and just relax. I mean, it's okay to relax, but always check if this is the right platform again and again, because it really changes a lot. O której jest ostatni pociąg? What time is the last train? Our next phrase is o której jest ostatnie metro, which is actually a sentence, and it means what time is the last metro? O której jest ostatnie metro? So, if you're in Warsaw, it's very common to travel with metro, even though we have only actually 2 lines, but it's going through the whole Warsaw. It is really convenient. And one thing to remember about Warsaw, well, buses are basically 24/7. Only that, at night you have to pay like small additional charge for the ticket. And the other thing about buses is that, well, it's very convenient because all the buses are going to the city center at night, and all the buses are going out from the city center. So basically, if you're really drunk and you were at a party and you want to get home, just take any bus, and sooner or later you end up in the city center, and then you can take the correct bus or the right bus that's going to your house. Nevertheless, it takes time, and metro is more convenient. During the weekdays, it's still running pretty late and then starting pretty fast. But during the weekends, it's running 24/7, so it's really convenient. Just find the bus stop and get to the bus and go to the city center, get to the correct bus. And that's it. And you can go back home anytime you want, without paying for taxi. Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Where do I change for? Okay, the next very important phrase is gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Where do I change for? Actually, where do I change for a train to? That would be maybe more correct translation. For example, you can say gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do Wrocławia? Where do I change for the train to Wrocław? Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do Krakowa? Where do I change to a train to Kraków, or for a train to Kraków? And as you may already remember, and if not, then please try to memorize that. After the preposition do, we use the second case, the genitive case, so we change the name of the city again, Kraków, Krakowa, Warszawa, Warszawy, Wrocław, Wrocławia, and so on and so on. Opole, my hometown, to Opola. Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Where is the train station? Even if you know all those phrases, you will never ever get to the right place if you don't know this one. Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Where is the train station? So you may already know that gdzie means where, and stacja kolejowa is just train station. Usually the main train station will be somewhere around the city center, but for bigger cities they will have few train stations like around the city, even though within the city you don't really travel by train. You travel by trams, you travel by buses. Well, in Warsaw there is metro as well, but you don't really travel by train within the city. But you will still even like maybe medium or big cities, you will have few train stations located around the city, with the main train station usually in the city center, or I think 99% of examples it will be so. Gdzie mogę nabyć bilet? Where can I buy a ticket? Our next phrase, or actually a sentence, is gdzie mogę nabyć bilet? Gdzie mogę nabyć bilet? Where can I buy a ticket? And, well, you probably remember gdzie is where, and bilet is a ticket. The word nabyć is actually maybe a little bit difficult. Nabyć means just to buy. And of course you can use gdzie mogę kupić bilet. You probably know already kupić. Kupić means to buy, but nabyć is a more fancy way of saying to buy something. And we use it very often as well. So, gdzie mogę kupić bilet? It's perfectly fine. Gdzie mogę nabyć bilet? Is level up if you want to learn another word for kupić. Nabyć. Ile kosztuje bilet do? How much is it to... Okay, and the next very important one is... Ile kosztuje bilet do? How much is a ticket to? Ile kosztuje bilet do? How much is it to? Or actually, literally, how much is a ticket to? And as I already said, within the city, I don't think there will be big difference. I mean, like, the ticket will be within the city, so that's okay. So there will be one ticket, but if you are going, for example, from Warsaw to Krakow, or from Krakow to Wrocław, or anywhere else within Poland, then of course this is a very useful phrase to learn. And the same preposition do, so remember we use second case, genitive case, for cities. So we can say, for example, ile kosztuje bilet do Krakowa? So Kraków changes to Krakowa. Ile kosztuje bilet do Krakowa? How much is the ticket to Krakow? Ile kosztuje bilet do Warszawy? How much is the ticket to Warsaw? Ile kosztuje bilet do Gdańska? How much is the ticket to Gdańsk? And so on, and so on, and so on. Gdzie jest przystanek autobusowy? Where's the bus stop? Yeah, and to take the bus, you really need to know how to ask where the bus stop is. And in Polish we say, gdzie jest przystanek autobusowy? Gdzie jest przystanek autobusowy? Where's the bus stop? So przystanek is a stop and autobusowy means bus, so bus stop. And for big cities like Warsaw, there is plenty of bus stops everywhere around. So basically you just walk around and you will find one sooner or later. In smaller cities like my hometown Opole, there's not so many. I basically always opt for walking around than taking a bus. So so it's very important to know how to ask where one is. Gdzie jest przystanek autobusowy? O której będzie następny autobus? What time is the next bus? Now, once you get to this przystanek autobusowy or the bus stop, you may want to ask, o której będzie następny autobus? O której będzie następny autobus? What time is the next bus? And I mean, like, you can always check it, right? But sometimes the timetables are very confusing, and then you have weekdays and weekends and bus numbers and so on. And some buses will not go this way or this way, and maybe, like, sometimes, you've got different times for the same bus, and depending on which color it is, this bus will go this route or this route. And then you may end up missing your own bus stop, which, by the way, another thing to remember, in some cities like Warsaw, some bus stops are on demand, so if you don't press the button, it will not stop. And the thing is that if you look at all the bus stops in line, the one on demand, they are being marked. I don't remember exactly how, but as far as I remember, there is, like, for normal one is like a circle filled black. And then for the one on demand, there's like circle just white inside. So, but when you look at it, it's kind of obvious that there's something wrong with those bus stops. So remember to press the button. Gdzie są biletomaty? Where are the ticket machines? And our last one for today is, gdzie są biletomaty? Where are the ticket machines? Gdzie są biletomaty? Actually, the word biletomaty or biletomat sounds very weird even for myself. Since it's a new word, it's basically a word that was created, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. when we got those, ticket machines, and saying something like maszyna na bilety, maszyna do biletów, maszyna gdzie się kupuje bilety, where maszyna, yeah? Maszyna means machine. So saying a long phrase like that was just really not the thing you want to do. And someone, I don't know, made this phrase, this word, biletomat. And right now we have biletomaty, of course, next to the metro, on some bus stops, on many tram stops, inside of a tram, inside of a bus as well. So not all, but many. So I wouldn't say it's always there, but many occasions, yes. In Warsaw at least. So what it is therefore is that if you buy like 30 minutes ticket and you are stuck in traffic jam, you cannot even go out of the bus and say save yourself paying a fine once your ticket is not valid anymore. But you cannot buy a ticket as well unless you've got this machine over there sitting there and waiting for you to buy a new one, which is very often the case. So that's actually pretty convenient, right? Top 10 must-know vocabulary for the restaurant. So our first word is kellner, waiter, and it's a masculine noun. So for example, if a waiter is very rude, you can say ten kelner jest bardzo niegrzeczny. Ten kelner jest bardzo niegrzeczny. This waiter is very rude. And our next word is kelnerka, waitress. So kellner is the masculine form, while kelnerka is the feminine. For example, you can say ile zarabia kelnerka? Ile zarabia kelnerka? How much money does a waitress make? So in general, the service in Poland is not that bad, but sometimes you may be unhappy with something, and if that's the case, it's okay not to tip, because the waiter or the waitress, they usually earn enough to cover their salary. But a rule in Poland would be to tip more or less 15-20%, but it's obviously up to you. So if you are more than happy with the service, you can go for 20%. If you are not so happy, you can go for 10 or just leave. Nobody will be angry at you. Our next word is almost the same as the English one, and it's menu. Menu. And with so many different restaurants, maybe there is some food you don't eat, something you don't like, and there is like vegetarian menu, and there is a vegan menu, and there is of course all the other types like pescatarian menu. So for example, when you walk into the restaurant and you are not so much into fish or meat, you can just ask, czy mają państwo menu wegetariańskie? Do you have a vegetarian menu? And surprisingly, even though Polish cuisine is so heavy on meat, we do have plenty, and I mean plenty, vegetarian restaurants spread all over the Poland, but especially in Warsaw. Warsaw is being known as European capital of vegetarian food and vegan food. And of course, one of the very important words when you're in the restaurant is zamówienie, order. Zamówienie, order. So zamówienie comes from a verb zamawiać, which means to order. So in English it's the same, basically almost the same word. It's just noun and a verb, order and to order. In Polish it's zamówienie as the noun and zamawiać as the verb. So the waiter can come to your table and ask, czy mogę przyjąć zamówienie? May I take your order? Another very important word, not only for restaurant, but in general, is woda, water. Woda means just water. And I know that in some countries you can get water for free in a restaurant, but in Poland you pay for it always. Be careful when you order it, just check on the menu what the price is, because it can be actually pretty high, almost the same as juice or even beer sometimes. And we do have both sparkling and non-sparkling water. It's very popular. Both are. So, for example, if you are the kind of person who doesn't like sparkling water, you would like to ask for non-sparkling one, you would say, poproszę wodę niegazowaną. I would like to have non-sparkling water. And of course, when you finish the meal, the most important thing is dessert. Dessert. Dessert, you probably feel like you've heard it somewhere because it sounds so much like the English word. Dessert is dessert. 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 So when the waiter or the waiters will be taking your order, they will probably ask at the end, czy życzy sobie pani coś na deser? Would you like something for the dessert? So we've got a lot of different desserts in Poland, and one of the most famous one would be szarlotka, which is an apple pie served with ice cream and with whipped cream. Another very good one, but available, I think, only for Christmas, is the popsit cake, which is the best for me. I like my favorite dessert ever. And of course, there is a lot of other pies. There's a wonderful cheesecake, very different from what you will see in all the other countries. So please be sure to try it out. Szef kuchni. Chef. So if you go with your friends to this very nice restaurant and you know that the chef here is very, very famous, you can say in Polish, szef kuchni w tej restauracji jest bardzo znany. The chef in this restaurant is very famous. Fast food. Fast food, which is just fast food. I guess the accent is more like Polish. And then another thing is that you know that in Polish we change nouns, we change the endings. So even though it's an English word, we would still change it. So it's like fast food, fast foodów, fast food. So even though it's an English word, we'll still change it, like fast food sometimes would just become fast foodów. And we do have a Polish type of fast food as well, which is pretty old. This Polish type, it's actually Polish hot dog, and we still call it hot dog, but there is no there is no sausage or anything or any meat inside. It's just mushrooms, and it comes from the time long time ago when we literally didn't have meat. It was very difficult to get meat. Even though people had money for that, they just couldn't buy it. So that's the invention of that time, and I still remember it. Oh my gosh, when I was little, I just loved to go with my mom and buy those hot dogs, and we called them hot dogs, but they were like hot dogs with mushrooms, and that's it, just mushrooms, like just the bun with mushrooms. You cannot see them so often anymore. You can still probably when you just look around, but it's not that common anymore. If you are like me and you don't really like fast food, you will say, nie lubię fast foodów. I don't like fast food. Restauracja, restaurant. And you can already hear it sounds very much like the English word, restaurant, because it's restaurant. Restauracja, restauracja. And I guess you know that a lot of restaurants are being judged by having Michelin star or not having it. I don't think there is a lot of restaurants in Poland with Michelin star, but the one that do have it, they will be extremely, and I mean like extremely expensive. Nevertheless, if you find one, you can always say, ta restauracja ma gwiazdkę Michelin. This restaurant has a Michelin star. Rachunek, bill. Rachunek comes from a very old Polish word which we probably don't use anymore. A verb, rachować. Rachować means just to count. And right now we would just say liczyć, not rachować. But this word, its form, it's still there in the word rachunek. Rachunek. And It's also very important to just look at your bill before you go back home, because sometimes people may make mistakes on purpose or not on purpose, but just it happens. And if something is wrong, you can always say, przepraszam, ale ten rachunek się nie zgadza. I'm sorry, but this bill is not correct.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.